Hey there! I want you to do me a favor. I want you to turn back the clock, back to 2020, back when it was a simpler time, back when Drake and Kendrick Lamar weren't beefing, back when Genshin Impact first came out and it was love at first sight. Wuthering Waves gave me a very similar feeling to when I first started playing Genshin. Here's my initial impression: the good, the bad, and everything in between. Quick disclaimer, I will try my best to not bring up other games, but it's inevitable that comparisons will be made. Between games like Genshin, Star Rail, League of Legends, Valorant, CSGO, and even Club Penguin while we're at it, whatever time you spend on Wuthering Waves is time being taken away from other potential games. That's why Wuthering Waves has to be at least interesting enough and captivating enough for us to keep playing. Anyways, let's talk about Wuthering Waves. Starting off with what I personally believe is the most important aspect for any gacha game, the dailies. If you played other gacha games before, then you have probably quit other gacha games before. Most of us probably share a similar path when it comes to quitting a gacha game, regardless of the reason as to why we stopped playing said game. And that similarity is step 1, not logging in to do your dailies. I don't know how it is for everyone else, but for me, when I stopped logging in to do dailies the first time, there's going to be a second time, a third time, a fourth time, and before I know it, I didn't log in for a month. That is why it is of the utmost importance for me that the dailies in a gacha game aren't time consuming. I'm happy to announce that the dailies in this game, which is called activity points by the way, is very easy to complete. It takes me about 5 minutes tops to fulfill the activity points requirement for the day, and that is most likely due to the unfamiliarity with the game. As long as you already have enough raw materials in your inventory, you can complete some of these tasks with just a few clicks. The daily quest is also just as easy and quick. So overall, if the duration time for dailies is a deal breaker for you, then you don't have to worry about it because Wuthering Waves respects our time. Have you ever cooked something in the oven and after taking it out, you realize that it's slightly undercooked, but probably still edible? That is how I feel about my time so far in Wuthering Waves. I experienced a lot of technical difficulties while playing this game. This could have been due to my end, the game's end, and anywhere in between, so my bad experiences may not reflect what you might have experienced or will experience. Let's talk about the FPS. As a PC gamer, FPS to me is what honey is to Winnie the Pooh. 60 FPS in this game doesn't feel like 60 FPS. I admit it, I don't have the top of the line hardware, but I expect my 3070 Ti to at least be able to push me 60 FPS at the minimum settings. I experienced a lot of stuttering and FPS drops, and even occasional ping spikes all the way to 999. Not to mention, sometimes the ping is just really high. I am fine if the ping is consistent, but I have experienced several instances where it just spikes all the way to 999. That is unplayable. While we're at it, where is the promised 120 FPS? Luckily for me, I managed to fix most of my FPS stuttering issues by doing the following. First, I reinstalled the game onto my SSD drive instead of my HDD drive. Second, I updated my graphics card driver to the latest version. Third, I turned off motion blur. Fourth, I turned on VSync. And the last step is simple restart. Now, I'm running the game at max setting with very few FPS drops / stuttering. However, I can't assume that every other players don't have FPS issues. And FPS issues in these combat-based games can be a deal breaker. Let me just quickly speedrun through the other minor issues that I've experienced. I have had several instances where the music just cuts off, and it's just voices. Not sure if that's intended or if just a bug. And to make matters worse, sometimes the lips just don't match whatever they're saying. It's like those lips are flapping, and then the voice line comes slightly delayed. It really does break the immersion. I don't know how to put it in a better way. And of course with instances where we just get stuck in one place and we can't move. But we know Genshin also have these issues, so it's not new for some of us. There are other technical issues that I ran into, such as like the text being covered, but all of these issues are 100% fixable. It is just up to the devs on how quickly they want to fix these issues, preferably as soon as possible, because in a game where I need to maneuver around and combo my attacks, any FPS issue can start to get annoying relatively quickly. After playing Honkai for a while now, the first thing I did in Wuthering Waves was trying to bunny hop. God, I miss being able to jump around in a gacha game. Jokes aside, I love the ecosystem. Long story short, the ecosystem is basically your traditional gears/relics system with a new twist. Every echo in this game has a main skill unique only to that echo. Our characters can use an echo's main skill if it's equipped in the main slot. Every time you kill a monster, there's a chance for it to drop an echo. Echoes also have certain set effect bonuses when equipping similar types of echoes onto the same character. Maybe this could get tedious in the future, but so far, it satisfies the collector side of me. It gives me incentive to actually engage in combat with the monsters in the wild rather than just running away from them because they are usually tedious, redundant, and provides 0 to no value. The skill portion of the ecosystem also opens up a lot of room for us to do some cooking. There are so many different combinations with the available echoes and characters, it invites us players to be creative here. For example, one of the earlier bosses that we get to fight in this game is this Inferno Ghost Rider looking monster. His echo skill has a second effect that allows us to ride his motorcycle while exploring. It is so fun. As for the rest of the combat system, it is very similar to Genshin from a lack of diverse comparison. To put this into perspective, if you enjoy the combats in Genshin, then Wuthering Waves combat system is not going to disappoint. As long as you're not getting any FPS issues, the combat feels smooth. This is it. This is the lifeline for any gacha games. Let's talk about the pity system. It's amazing. The pity count is at 80, which is really low if you ask me. For reference, Star Rail and Genshin are both at 90. The home run here is really with the weapons banner, fully guaranteed 100%. If you're a Star Rail player, no more getting sleep like the dead. Moving on, let's talk about the character dupes. We should be no strangers to the concept of needing character dupes to further unlock upgrades for your characters. In Genshin, it's C6. In Star Rail, it's E6. Whatever terminology you use, the concept is relatively the same. Wuthering Waves has the same concept here, but the key difference here is Wuthering Waves has made it much easier for even free-to-play players to fully max out a character. This is because in the store, they have the option for us to purchase up to 2 copies of a dupe for a character that we have already pulled. For example, I pulled Encore from my novice banner. Now, I can spend 270 of this Afterglow currency to get 1 dupe copy of Encore. Now, I can spend another 270 to get 1 more copy. This can push my Encore to Resonance Chain level of 2, which is basically C2 or E2 if you're more familiar with those other games. Think about it this way, whales won't have to spend as much to C6 every single character. And us low spenders slash free-to-play players can actually C6 our favorite character without having to take out a loan. One of my issues I have with the story is the slight disconnect throughout the main story. Let me give you a simple example. Around the 1 hour or so into the game, the first major goal is to find out more about the 4 clues given to us. Somehow, this main quest got us running around doing these side quest like things for people. Help us fix these beacons. Help us tend to these wounded soldiers. Help us find a missing soldier. It goes on and on. I wouldn't mind if they separated these side quest like objectives into actual side missions. What's even crazier is that during the main story, this dude just shows up thinking he's part of the team. Who is he? I've never met him in the story before. He just shows up thinking that he's part of the team. It's like Kuro forgot to include his story plot into the game or something. So I went back to check my recordings, and this was the first time he actually shows up. It's weird. I really wish they spent more time developing the characters. Don't get me wrong, some characters do get more development than others, but at the very least, don't shove a random character in my face. Anyways, as for the basic premise of this game, it's like this. We, the MC, woke up in the middle of nowhere, having lost our memories. We have some mysterious power that apparently nobody else seems to have, and everybody treats us like royalty. For plot reasons, every single faction in this game seems to want a piece of us. Now, we need to navigate around this unfamiliar world while trying to find clues on who we really are. Do we have a missing sibling? Were we originally a part of a group of dangerous space criminals? Are we the chosen one? Find out in the next episode of You Get the Point. The story premise isn't new. It's been done before. But what makes a story captivating is how they build onto the characters. And let's just say some characters just doesn't have it. But there are some characters that are just... That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT! I'm talking about this guy specifically. This brings us to the question of, is the story worth playing for? In my opinion, the story's fine. It has its ups, it has its downs. I can't really praise the story without going to spoiler territory. So my only suggestion is to give a few hours into the story. Personally for me, I was kind of bored in the first hour or two when playing this game. I started to get into the story around the point of, when this guy shows up. I won't say anything more because, spoilers. Anyways, bringing everything together, am I going to continue playing this game? And should you give this game a try? For myself, I'm going to continue playing this game solely because I really enjoy the combat system. The ecosystem gives the gameplay a unique twist of creativity, and the story is decent enough for me to stick around. The Gacha pity system is very generous, perhaps the most generous of any Gacha game that I've ever played. This is especially true when it comes to weapons banner, which is, once again, 100% fully guaranteed. No 75-25 that you have to risk in Honkai, and whatever crazy gambling they have you do in Genshin's weapon banner. If you're on the fence right now, and you're not sure if you want to give this game a try, then take this into consideration. Wuthering Waves may not be stellar across the board, but its combat is rock solid. My issues are technical issues, to be honest. FPS stuttering, ping issues, audio bugs, these very fixable technical issues. I repeat, these are fixable issues. And the most important thing to me is that I see signs of the dev actually caring about the game and not treating it as a quick cash grab. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Okay, bye.